on Chapter 13, The Aftermath. If you remember, there was a big storm. Daybreak and the storm had passed, but the sounds of water were everywhere. The air was filled with the dripping sounds of mountain runoff and the sloshing sounds of flooded streams. Then came a very different sound. It was a clanging sound a robot makes when he slips on a wet rock. There were quite a few clangs that morning. As Roz worked her way downhill, she scanned the aftermath of the storm. Giant mounds of mud and debris had formed below the cliffs. The island's central river had crested its banks and spilled into the nearby fields and forests. Some trees had been uprooted. Others were submerged. Their upper branches were barely poking up above the floodwaters, their lower branches swarming with fish instead of birds. After such a storm, you might expect to see animal corpses scattered among all the devastation. But the animals seemed to have survived just fine. Somehow they had known the storm was coming, and they had found shelter long before it had rolled in. Lowland creatures who had sought refuge on a higher ground were waiting patiently for the water to recede. Deer were wading through the flooded fields. Beavers were busily collecting a trove of fallen branches. Geese honked in the sky before splashing down into a watery section of the forest. Clearly, the animals were experts at survival. Clearly, the robot was not. Roz was crusted with mud and grit, and she gave herself another good cleaning, but that only revealed her dents and scratches. They were really starting to add up. She hardly resembled the perfect robot who had appeared on the shore just a week earlier. The wilderness was taking a toll on poor Roz, so she felt like something of relief when she spotted the quiet hole in the side of the mountain. It looked like a safe place for a robot. She stomped across the hillside and up to the cave, but never stopped to wonder what might be lurking within. What do you think could be in the cave? We'll have to see. The bears. Oh, that might give it away. Roz stomped into the cave, and she stomped right back out. "Please stay away," said the robot to the two bears who were now nipping at her heels. You see, when Roz stomped into the cave, she accidentally woke up a brother and sister bear from their morning nap, which is never a good idea. And to make matters worse, bears, having an instinct that drives them to attack when a creature runs away, especially if the creature running away is a mysterious sparkling monster. So as the startled bears watched Roz stomping out of their cave, they really had no choice at all. They simply had to take up chase. Roz tried her best to outrun the bears. She leaped over rocks and wove through trees and stomped across the mountainside at full speed. But the bears were young and strong and fast, and the robot still had much to learn about moving through the wilderness. She never even saw the tree root. One moment she was stomping along, and the next she was flying through the air, thumping down onto a rotten log. Clumps of soft wood stuck to her side as she stood and faced her attackers. Wouldn't you be afraid if two bears were charging toward you? Of course you would. I would. Everyone would. Even the robot felt something like fear. Roz was programmed to take care of herself. She was programmed to stay alive. And as the robot watched those bears charging toward her, she knew her life was in serious danger. The bears slammed into Roz, knocking her against the trunk of a towering tree. Then one bear dove at her legs and the other clawed at her chest. If only the robot had swung her fists or kicked her feet, she might have scared them off. One good bop in the nose would have sent them running. But the robot's programming would not allow her to be violent. Clearly, Roz was not designed to fight bears. Powerful jaws chomped her arms. Sharp claws slashed her face. A massive head rammed her chest. "Please stay away," said the robot. "Grrr," said the sister bear. "Grrr," said the brother bear. And then the bears went in for the kill. But the robot had vanished. You have to tune in next time to see what happens.